So one question that I've had a lot of people reach out to me over the last 2 years, especially when they find out that I've actually moved to Canada to study, is whether they should actually also leave their careers back home or whatever they are doing and make that decision of actually moving to Canada to study. And especially this has to do with professionals or people with careers who have ambitions of actually improving themselves and also the intentions of possibly moving to Canada permanently. So if you find yourself in this category, then today's video might be the one for you. 5 reasons why, for me, I think that the study route might be the best pathway for you to permanent residency if you have plans of actually moving to Canada to study and possibly staying. The first reason that we'll actually look at is the fact that if you study in Canada and the institution that you study in is actually DLI compliant and it meets the necessary requirements, post-graduation, the Canadian government will actually give you a post-graduation work permit. For instance, if you are studying for a course that meets the requirements and that course is at least 2 years, the Canadian government will give you a post-graduated work permit that's valid for 3 years. So that will give you an extra 3 years to stay in Canada post-graduation. So basically, if they issued you a 2-year visa for your work permit post-graduation, you are going to get another 3 years postgraduate work permit. So it's like they are giving you like a 5-year stay in Canada. That's if you meet all the necessary requirements. If you decide to go with a program that's just 1 year, post-graduation, they are going to give you a 1-year postgraduate work permit. Even though I've seen some of my colleagues or people who studied 1-year program being able to get a 3-year postgraduate work permit, and most of these people will make a case for why they deserve a 3-year postgraduate work permit, and sometimes they are able to get it. Secondly, the postgraduate work permits will actually enhance your eligibility when it comes to permanent residency. One of the things about the Canadian permanent residency process is sometimes your work experience in Canada will go a long way to increase the chances of you either getting nominated when it comes to the pathway that you are trying to pursue. So besides getting that Canadian work experience, being able to at least involve yourself in the work culture in Canada and being able to connect with professionals, you will still be able to get an extra points when it comes to the CRS score if you decide to pursue the express entry route. Thirdly, the good thing about the postgraduate work permit is the fact that it's an open work permit. That means it allows you to work for any employer of your choice. So you are not tied to one employer or the other, as compared to somebody who decided to move into the country with a work permit that possibly might not be open and might be closed. By yours being an open work permit, you can decide to choose to work for any employer of your choice. If you go with one employer and you don't like that particular job, you can easily move to one of your choice. Then also, whilst working, you get the opportunity to network with other graduates or possibly other professionals in the industry that you find yourself in, because most of these people who are coming with this route possibly have been working and have a career back home, and their main goal is either to improve themselves and transition into either similar roles that they have back home or other higher ones. So whilst you are working on that postgraduate work permit, you will get the chance to at least network with people in those industries that you want to actually enter. My reason number 2 would be the fact that if you decide to study in Canada and use it possibly as a pathway for immigration, it will actually allow you to align with the Canadian Experience class. That's the CEC immigration program. The CEC is actually designed to provide a streamlined pathway to PR for individuals with Canadian work experience. And because you came in as a student and post-graduation, you actually have been able to receive a PGWP that has allowed you to work in Canada. You will now find yourself in the CEC class, which automatically now allows you to qualify for that particular immigration program. So basically, that work experience that you've gained post-graduation will allow you, after 1 year of working, be able to fall into the CEC class. And if you check your CRS score when it comes to the express entry, you will realize that sometimes with that work experience that you've acquired, when it comes to human capital factors, that's the Canadian work experience, will allow you to get an extra 70 points. So let's say if you are still back home and your aim is to migrate through the express entry route, by coming into Canada to come and study and getting that work experience, you now score an extra 70 points, which might possibly jump you over other people in the pool and possibly get you nominated, and now you will be able to accomplish that Canadian immigration dream that you've always had. And the other good news is, when it comes to the CEC immigration program, unlike the other immigration programs, the processes are almost simplified, because most times most of the people who fall into this class are already in Canada. So there's not much documentation that's required to show that they meet the necessary requirements, or at least they qualify to be able to move to Canada, because they are already here and the Canadian government already has all the necessary information that they need about these guys. So by falling into that particular class, you now might be able to process your documentation much faster, because they need minimal documentation from you. And I've seen some people who fall into this class sometimes having their whole immigration application being processed between 3 to 4 months, because all the information that they need, they have it. So their process goes much faster than the other programs. And also with the CEC immigration program, no job offer requirements are needed, because basically you can just rely on your Canadian experience to be able to be eligible for that particular program. So there's no need for you to now go hunting for a job offer to be able to be eligible for that particular program. And last but not the least, if you find yourself in this particular class and you decide to pursue your immigration pathway through this class, you are exempted from all settlement funds. So there will be no need for you to now come and show any proof of funds when you decide to pursue your PR journey. So unlike the other pathways like federal skill or federal trades, where you might have to show proof of funds, if you find yourself in the CEC, there will be no need to worry about proof of funds. But I would throw a word of caution here, because even though you might find yourself eligible for the CEC, sometimes there's no guarantee that you are going to receive an invitation to apply. So you have to be strategic in whatever you are doing, and at least possibly use this as another way, or one of the ways that you're going to use when it comes to your strategies for immigrating to Canada. So just imagine this: you decided to improve yourself academically because you've been working and you feel it's time to now study and improve your knowledge, and you chose Canada as one of the destinations to come and study. By just studying in Canada in the right institution, you would automatically have now qualified for a postgraduate work permit that's open and allows you to now work with any employer of your choice. By working, you are now able to now network with other people and possibly make the necessary connections to get you to that job that you've always wanted. And by working in that job for at least another 1 year, you have now qualified for the CEC class, which now automatically qualifies you for another immigration pathway in Canada. The third reason that I think the study route might be the best pathway that you can choose possibly to study and possibly immigrate to Canada is the fact that if you study in Canada, your choice of province might sometimes qualify you for the Provincial Nominee program in that particular province. As I'm talking right now, I find myself in Manitoba, and just a few days ago, the immigration minister of Manitoba came out with word that they are going to allow people who studied in Manitoba and their postgraduate work permit is about to expire. They are going to give them an extension for the next 18 months. Just imagine that, because they feel that these people are key to the economy of Manitoba. And also when it comes to the PNP, mostly their focus is to try to feed labor shortage in the province. So they are going to prioritize people who have actually studied in the province and have the necessary knowledge and resources to actually meet the labor shortage that they have in that province. So if you have studied there and your actual course is in demand and the job that you are actually working in is in demand, you are going to get priority. So be strategic when it comes to picking the course that you want to study, even though you are taking the student route. And the other good news when it comes to the PNP processes is, if you are actually nominated to immigrate through that particular processes, most times they will allocate a settlement agency that's going to help you to be able to settle into that province. So basically they are dedicating people to you who are actually going to answer all the questions that you might have when it comes to permanently moving to that particular province. And their aim is to make your life as easy as possible when it comes to finding jobs, when it comes to finding accommodation, finding schools for your children. These people are actually getting paid to actually help support you and ease you smoothly into that particular province. The fourth reason that person, I think, makes the study route the best route to take if your goal is to study and actually possibly might immigrate to Canada is the fact that Canada will offer you quality education and one that has global recognition. Talking from my experience, the class that I found myself in, there were 36 of us from 18 different countries. So what we were able to do was now interact with senior managers from 18 different countries. We were able to learn from each other, and the degrees that we were given post-graduation, personally I was given 4 different certificates, one in leadership, one in management, one in project management, and one even in indigenous skills. And all these certificates are globally recognized. So if my aim is not even to stay in Canada, I can easily move to one of the neighboring countries and possibly use those certificates to be able to work there. I know people who are even targeting US as one of the areas because their aim is not just to move to Canada, because they're able to get jobs just across the border. So they can easily move across the border and don't even have to stay in Canada. So with the Canadian education, not only are they preparing you for Canada, they're actually preparing you for the international job market. You can easily move to any country of your choice if your goal is not just to move to Canada, because you get skills that are globally recognized. You'll be able to be instructed by high professionals who have all the skills and experience to be able to educate you, to be able to answer most of the questions that will be thrown to you in the global job market. My reason number 5 will be the fact that studying in Canada, you'll be able to get the necessary networks and connections that are going to be valuable to you in future post-graduation. There is this saying that your network is your net worth. The funny thing is, in Canada, that saying actually is a reality. The people that you are actually going to network with are the ones who are going to either open the windows for you for those jobs that you need, or they are going to open the doors for you for those actual companies that you want to have a foot in, or those at least connect you to the next person who might open the door that you actually need. Just yesterday, I was speaking to one colleague who actually received a job employment offer, and the funny thing was, the same person that he was sitting in class with was the one who actually opened the door for him for the job employment that he's gotten now. And in the past, he has actually applied to that particular company 10 different times, and his resume was not even responded to. But this time around, because he found himself in the same class with somebody in that particular company, that person was able to at least vouch for him, so they were able to call him for an interview. And because he was well prepared enough, he was able to prove himself, and he was given that job that he always wanted. And the other thing too is feedback from professionals, especially those who will be teaching you in class. They're able to give you direct feedback on most of the things that you do. Here, they won't sugarcoat most of the things that they need to tell you. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Most of the things that these instructors will tell you is either black or white. If you decide to cheat, you'll find yourself in trouble. They expect you to be organic in everything that you do. At least try to apply yourself. There's not like this is right or wrong. As long as you are able to apply yourself and defend whichever stance that you go with. at least when it came to management, that's one thing that I realized. Whichever position that you choose, you should be able to defend it accordingly, and they will give you feedback if they feel that whatever stance that you've chosen is not something that's going to work in Canada. Then there's a thing about unlocking the hidden job market. There is one thing that we were told when we came to Canada, that most of the jobs that exist in Canada are actually hidden. I keep hearing people tell me that, oh, I've applied to this job and never got a response. But what you realize is the job has actually been filled, because in Canada, most of the job employment opportunities are actually hidden. And they will tell you that the ones that you see online is just about 20% of actual job employments that are available. You will talk to recruiters and they will tell you that we are finding it difficult actually finding people to fill roles. But you will talk to some of these newcomers and they will tell you that we are finding it difficult finding employment. You realize that there is a gap between these two people. And one thing that personally I have realized is most of the jobs that you might find yourself in, somebody, some way, somehow will have to be recommending you. So that's why your networks are going to be your net worth, because they are going to recommend you for some of these roles. But when it comes to networking, there's one caution that I would like to throw here. Always remember that networking is a two-way street. You have to be genuine and show interest in the other people. Don't just be interested in what you need. At least be interested in what you can offer the other person, so that it will look genuine and it will just not look like you are just trying to take advantage of the person just to get a foot into the company one way or the other. So in conclusion, just from my own experience, I think that the studying route might be the best route for you to at least pursue education in Canada and still be able to achieve your immigration dreams, if your goal is to at least improve yourself and possibly immigrate to Canada. And just to recap, by studying in Canada, you are now able to get postgraduate work permits. And this is besides the fact that whilst you are studying, you are allowed to work. So you'll be able to at least make some coins to supplement whatever money that you brought in. And even if you don't need the money, you'll be able to gain some working experience whilst you are working. And post-graduation, you will be able to now get a postgraduate work permit that's open and will allow you to work for any employer of your choice, and you'll be able to now get work experience. And with that work experience, you will now qualify for the CEC, that's the Canadian Experience Class, which is another immigration pathway that you might not even be considering. But at least by studying in Canada and working for another 1 year, you have automatically qualified for that one, whilst pursuing the other pathways that you have in mind. And by choosing to study in Canada and finding yourself in that particular province, you are automatically qualifying for the Provincial Nominee program in that particular province that you find yourself. So that's another pathway that you can just pursue. And most of these provinces will prioritize people who have studied in that province, because there is a high chance that they will stay, because if he has studied there for a year, he knows the province, he understands the province, and will be able to at least stay post graduation if they give that person PR. And by studying, you are now able to network with other professionals, people who might be able to open windows or doors for you in the near future. If you got value out of this video, kindly hit the like button so that YouTube will see value and also recommend to other people. And don't be greedy. Try and share this video with other family members or friends that you think will also find value in this video. And I will try and respond to questions that I put into my comment section. So feel free and let's engage in the comment section. And until the next video, cheers.